Emergency vehicles everywhere. Police were everywhere. Bodies, folks were just running through the streets.
A horrific scene in the New Orleans French Quarter. EarthCam captures the moment you can see police officers react to what the FBI now calls a terrorist attack. A truck plowing into a crowd of people on Bourbon Street overnight. It's now 4 o'clock, and we want to bring you up to date on what we've learned from authorities a little more than an hour ago.
So the suspect here is 42-year-old Chassoud Din Jabbar. Agents say he is the person who plowed that truck into a crowd of people. At least 10 people are dead tonight, dozens of others hurt. All of this happened on busy Bourbon Street in the early morning hours as people were ending their New Year's celebrations.
The FBI says the suspect is an American citizen from Texas. He's also an Army veteran. Agents say he drove that truck onto the sidewalk to get around a police car. And after hitting those dozens of people, he got out and started shooting at police. 2 officers were hurt, but we're told they will be okay.
Now, we do know the suspect is dead today, and an ISIS flag was on the hitch of the truck he was driving. Investigators now are working to figure out if he has any ties to the terrorist organization. Police also say they believe he did not act alone.
Of course, so many Notre Dame and Georgia football fans are in New Orleans for the Sugar Bowl that was scheduled to take place tonight. We just learned this afternoon that game has been postponed until tomorrow. A news conference wrapped up about 90 minutes ago. Officials say now is the time to be vigilant. Watch.
Rest assured that the decision that was made to postpone the game was not done lightly. It was done with one single thing in mind: public safety. Making sure that the citizens and visitors of this great city, not only for this event, but for every event you come to in Louisiana, that you will be safe.
And the investigation still underway, obviously, and it is spanning wider than just Bourbon Street.
So we want to go to Jennifer Bellamy from our sister station in New Orleans. She's at one of those locations where police right now are still looking for possible explosives.
An ongoing police presence situation unfolding at the corner of Mandeville and Murray. I'm going to step out so you can get a look at the scene out here right now. As you can see, there is a heavy law enforcement's presence. We are understanding that this is going on for about a block or two. We are hearing from officials very little information. We do know that New Orleans Police, New Orleans Fire, both out here on the scene, in addition to the ATF and the FBI. And we're told that any new information about what exactly is going on will have to come from the FBI. We have had a chance to speak with some neighbors here. They tell us that they were told they needed to evacuate their homes for their own safety this morning. Many of them leaving with just their pets and whatever they had on at the time. We know that there is a nearby church that has opened its doors to allow people a space to kind of get out of some of the elements in the cooler weather right now. But not a lot of information. Neighbors really concerned about what is going on and if it's connected to Airbnb homes on this street. Here's what they had to say.
I hope there's no connection, but I mean, it's scary. It's just odd that it's all happening at the same time after that happened this morning. So it's scary, and we don't know. So until we do know something, just kind of puts your mind at ease, but you don't really have that ease right now.
Again, not a lot of information from law enforcement about what is going on right here, what the focus of the investigation is right now. Again, we are told that whatever we do get will be coming from the FBI, the agency that is also investigating the attack on Bourbon Street. Reporting for WWL Louisiana, Jennifer Bellamy.
All right, so that was a look at the investigation. There is also the emotion. This vibrant place suddenly touched by violence. We have a crew in New Orleans right now.
That's right. Our Dominic Miranda and photographer Josh Blankenship have been there this week. Dom, of course, you guys went down there to cover the Sugar Bowl. I cannot imagine the shift from the New Year's revelry and the anticipation and excitement for this game and now this tragedy.
Well, you know, we talked the last few days at the excitement leading up to the Sugar Bowl and how great of city New Orleans is, and the attitude shift in the last 24 hours or even less than that has been remarkable. There was shock, there was anger, there was sadness this morning right here in downtown New Orleans, and I want to show you behind me. This is where it all happened, at the intersection of Canal Street and Bourbon Street. And as we know and as we've reported, we do know that 10 people were killed, 35 were injured, as a man just after 3 a.m. this morning drove a white pickup truck down that street. You can see behind that mobile communications center right there, and just chaos ensued. Just an hour ago, there was press conference held at the New Orleans Police Department headquarters. The special agent in charge of the FBI, mayor of New Orleans, governor of Louisiana, and police chief of New Orleans were among those who briefed the media. The FBI is handling this investigation and says they are investigating this as an act of terrorism. The suspect drove around barricades onto the sidewalk and plowed down Bourbon Street right off of Canal Street, where we were just now. He then got out of his vehicle and started exchanging fire with police officers. 2 police officers were injured but are expected to be okay. A state of emergency has been declared here in New Orleans, giving them access to every resource possible to learn more information. The FBI believes this individual did not act alone and are requesting all information related to this to be passed on to them immediately. Okay, so obviously this all happened when the Sugar Bowl was supposed to be played tonight between Georgia and Notre Dame. Sugar Bowl Representative Jeff Hunley was also at that press conference and confirmed our report that the game will be postponed for 24 hours. Now, that number 24 hours is what they're sticking with right now. That is subject to change. The game could be played earlier in the day. Just going to have to take some time to figure all this out. What I can tell you is folks that we spoke to, fans, grieving folks right here in New Orleans. They were, of course, disappointed that the Sugar Bowl was postponed, but they understand. People are grieving. This is something that nobody could have foreseen coming. They were sad, they were angry, and it was a state of shock this morning. It was certainly a shock to all the reporters here, and it's just sad to see a city with such vibrance have that shift in such little time ahead of such an exciting few days. So we'll, of course, keep you updated throughout the day right here on WTHR. We'll be live here in New Orleans throughout 4, 5, and 6, bringing you more information. Notre Dame fans and alumni held a mass this morning, coming together in prayer. It certainly was an uplifting shift from the disappointment and sadness of today. But we'll keep you updated any more information we have and more information about the Sugar Bowl as it presents itself. But for now, we're reporting live here in downtown New Orleans. We'll send it back to you.
Dom, if I could just ask you too a little bit more about the atmosphere there. You know, you mentioned 24 hours from now, we possibly are going to play this game. I can't help but think of 24 hours ago when you were there and the crowd was happy and celebratory, and now such a gut punch to have this unimaginable tragedy. What does it look like? I mean, this Bourbon Street is not the one we recognize. You know, what are you seeing and feeling there?
No, it's an active crime scene right now. It's an active investigation, and until that is not the case, it will be shut down with caution tape, as you see right here. The shock factor is what struck me the most. It was a ghost town. You saw people lining the streets of not only Canal Street, where we're at in downtown New Orleans, but Bourbon Street as well, the world-renowned Bourbon Street. There was such an atmosphere, such a buildup, such an anticipation to the Sugar Bowl of 2 of the most elite programs in all of college football. And New Orleans, such a proud host of this event, unfortunately marred by a senseless and heinous tragedy, really. And that's what decision makers and lawmakers and all those stakeholders at the press conference we were at earlier had to say. They will find this person and they will bring them to justice. That was their promise to the people of New Orleans and really all the tourists that were here to enjoy the Sugar Bowl. So a lot of sadness, a lot of shock, a lot of disbelief. And until there's more answers, I'm sure it will stick that way. But we have seen people coming together. That mass I mentioned for the Notre Dame alumni and fans, you know, that was such an uplifting part of this, coming together in the wake of a tragedy. People are looking for leadership, right, in these situations. And so that, of course, was uplifting. We'll bring that to you. But it's going to take a while to resume as normal here in downtown New Orleans, and rightfully so. But as of now, Sugar Bowl is scheduled for tomorrow, 7:45 Central Time, and we'll bring you the update if that changes.
All right, and we're going to follow up with you a little later in the show. Dominic Miranda, thanks for joining us live from New Orleans this afternoon.
Well, the president of the University of Notre Dame is talking about today's tragedy in New Orleans.
He issued a statement today, and if we can put that on the screen, we'll show you here. It says, our prayers are with the family members and loved ones of all those impacted by the terrible attack in New Orleans early this morning.
We also pray for all of those injured and extend our deepest gratitude to the brave first responders who risked their lives to protect others.
To be in solidarity with those who suffer is to exemplify the spirit of Notre Dame. Today, we are in solidarity with all those impacted by this tragedy. Again, that statement from the president of the University of Notre Dame today.
You know, we are still getting a lot of new information about this attack. Law enforcement calling this a very fluid situation. Of course, when we get updates, we'll be sure to let you know on 13 News and on our mobile app, and we'll have much more on the investigation coming up at 4:15.